wonderful. Thank you for that. Thank you. Wasn't that John Bailey intro long? But he did such a great job. Really grateful for John for doing that. And he does a good Optimus Prime at the end, didn't he? Hey, thank you guys for coming. And this is a real pleasure to me. I'll just say that in Sacramento, I really love Sacramento. I've been here before, not in this capacity by any means, but I fell in love with Sacramento when I first came here. It was more of a cowboy experience than it was as an actor. And I won't go there, it's much too It was fun though.
Peter, as you look at that video, when you saw that video backstage before you came up, are there some of the things in there that surprise you that you go, oh my God, you're right, I did all of that stuff. I mean, your work is just amazing across so many, genres even, you know?
Thank you, Chris. I love this guy. Yeah, you are so good. To be honest, I didn't really recognize some of those shows.
That's what's shocking because you've done so many. I mean, the one that really surprised me in our conversations was King Kong and making the noises and the grunts. Like, you did some of it yesterday. It was amazing.
Well, if a lot of you are not aware, I did do King Kong, and it was a very hard experience. It was 12 cinema reels, which is a lot of movie. And of course, Optimus Prime speaks. King Kong doesn't speak. He emits sounds for his emotions, anger. Just the memory of it. Anyway, I had done so many reels that towards the end of the production, it was about a 3-day thing, I was coughing up blood. It sounds gross, but actually I was really injuring my cords. And I don't know how that's possible, but I called it blood throat. I would never ever think of doing a monster sound again. And I did. And I was called into 20th Century Fox. I think this is the story we're done. I was called into 20th Century Fox to come up with a voice or sound for the Predator. And I had already told my agent, I said, I'm not going to do any more monster sounds. Not like I was a big star or anything else. I was just trying to protect my voice. I hadn't done anything until I saw that little blood. And I thought, oh boy, there goes the career if you keep this up. And at the time, and there wasn't much of a career going anyway, but nonetheless, I had that moment. Anyway, the Predator came out of that because I refused to do the monster sounds. And I asked if I could see what the Predator looked like, and they wouldn't let me see it because it was top secret. Well, I said, how can I create a voice if I don't know what it looks like? Oh, they eventually succumbed, and Predator took off the helmet and exposing these tentacles and face that reminded me of an upside-down horseshoe crab on the shore, dying in the sun. And the bubbles were coming out between these tentacles in that face, and they were snapping and making those little crackling sounds. So I asked them, I said, could you bring the microphone down? It's a big studio mic that's about 6 feet away. Probably pick up a cricket, but I wanted the intimacy of getting that mic as close to my mouth as I could, because I had just thought of what I was going to do, and hopefully I would get out of this alive. So the microphone came down, and the director is very, very upset with me. He's really getting upset. And I got the mic there, and I started doing it. But that's not all. director is furious now. And just as he's about to, really wail off on me, I was feeling, really kind of nervous and I was embarrassed at the same time. And it was a situation. The speaker from the back of the studio comes on, and one of the engineers and the sound effects man, they eventually won the Academy Award for Best Sounds at the Oscar. And the voice came over and said, "You've got to come up here. You gotta hear this. It really prints well, and you've just got to come up here." So he goes for the I'm waiting for about a couple of minutes, and all of a sudden, hi, Peter. Okay, let's go back to reel one. So we start at the beginning. That's how it started. Just because of an upside down horseshoe crab bubbling in the hot sun.
Wow. Now we're going to get to all of your questions here for people right here up front where the blue microphone is. Please line up. We'll get to as many questions as we can. But before we start, I just have one question, which is something I think I've always been surprised by is you had to audition for the part of Optimus Prime for the Transformers movie. And I really feel like that's a story worth telling because, first of all, I'm so shocked that even had to happen. But there was fan outrage at the time, I remember. Would you mind recounting that tale?
Yeah, it was difficult. They had not heard from you yet. They had not heard from the most tenacious, wonderful source of brothers and sisters. And when they did, they started paying attention. And because of you, that's how I got the job, because that put the pressure on Paramount Pictures and put the pressure on Michael Bay, and all the other ones that are involved. There's many, many, many people involved in that film. So thanks to you guys. After the third audition, they were starting to exclude George Clooney and Clint Eastwood, I think, and so many other guys that were being considered or wanted to do it. There's all rumors, so I don't know for sure, so don't tell anybody. In any case, the pressure that was put on was my third visit with Michael Bay. And he said, "Well, we're going to start recording. Are you good to go tomorrow?" And I said, "Well, sure. Yeah. Let's go." That's how that went about. But mind you, at the time, it's a very difficult thing to know that you've created a character and you have to audition for it. So you put that behind you and you say, start from the beginning.
I don't think any of us can imagine the character without you voicing him. It's impossible. So give yourself a round of applause for the years of support. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, that means a lot to me, thank you.
Let's get to your questions. First question. Stand up. Let's rapid fire. Let's go.
Hi, Peter. First off, I want to say thank you so much for coming to SacAnime, and I really hope that you come back here a lot more often and probably bring Frank Rutler with you.
Oh boy, I can't wait to bring Frank. He's the greatest. I call him the king, and he is.
So first off, I know that you'll always be the OG voice of Optimus Prime. And I know between G1 and the Michael Bay films that there were other voice actors for Optimus Prime, such as Gary Chalk in Beast Wars, Neil Kaplan in Robots in Disguise, and David Kay, who ironically did Megatron in Beast Wars, did Optimus Prime in Transformers Animated. So my question is, if you've ever heard of their piece when they did Optimus Prime, did you feel like they shared the embodiment of how you portrayed Optimus in the G1, like being a big leader, always calm to command his troops, and always bring hope to them when things are kind of down for them, or something like that?
What's the question?
That's a very long question. Yeah.
I'll just sum it up. How did you feel about, from your perspective, their voice acting as Optimus Prime?
That's a very, thank you for the question. As an actor, when you lose a job or you're cut from a series or the show closes, you just move on. And that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. I moved on. My own feelings at the time were not having any reaction from fans. No fan mail that we ever saw. There weren't any notifications as to the internet, popularity or how hot the star is or whatever it is. So there was nothing to guide your judgment. Either come up with your own determination, and at that time when they killed me off, I just thought, well, boy, I must really suck at this character. Why are they getting rid of me? What the hell? Anyway, excuse me, kids. But in all honesty, you take it personally. And that's one thing you should never do in show business, is take it personally. But having had no feedback, you have to ask the question, what did I do wrong? And then eventually you figure out, well, it's a toy company, and they want to do a new toy. So don't take it personally, which I didn't when I determined that. So leaving that stage, putting it behind me, I didn't think a thing about Transformers. I wasn't watching it, and my kids weren't watching it because Dad wasn't on. And I moved on to many other things, but in recent years I've heard Gary, and I think he's wonderful. I think the actors that have done they're not Optimus Prime, because they're other primes, and I think they did excellent in portrayal. But for me, Optimus Prime is always going to be close to my heart, and I take it very seriously. So I have a lot to be responsible for.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much.
Okay, who's next?
Hi. As we saw in the video, you voiced Carr from the Knight Rider from '82, but you also reprised it for the 2008 revival. Did you like how they used Carr in the new one, seeing as he had maybe 5 minutes of actually on the TV set compared to as 82, both times Carr was involved, he was in the whole episode, so everything.
Yeah, it didn't bother me really. I mean, it was so after the fact. And Carr, I had no idea Carr would, attracted any attention. He wasn't Kit Carr. And he was kind of funny though. There was a scene coming into the drive-in, Jack in the Box, I think it was. You remember that scene? Either do I.
From '82, from when you originally voiced it, the first one, with that clown Carr ran over the voice box?
Possibly, but don't rely on me for the truth in that answer, because I can't remember it so long ago.
That's easily my favorite episode.
Really?
I love Carr. Basically, the ones that make the kid feel inadequate are the ones that I love.
Oh, yeah. I might know Peter Cullen. So.
Thank you for your question. Great.
Thanks for
Okay, who's next?
Hi, Peter.
Hi.
Happy New Year.
You too, thank you.
I'm a giant Konami fan, and I want to ask a question about Konami, if you don't mind.
I'll try to do my best.
Did you know, or how did you feel when they got canceled there? I mean, I know you said that, you move on, but, I mean, the long run was amazing. I mean, your voice was like only Konami, and that was amazing, by the way.
Well, it's really difficult leaving a show after you've worked with other actors for a period of time. You develop a wonderful relationship. You develop new respects and new admirations. And you leave behind an awful lot of laughter and fun. And in this particular instance, I really wasn't working with the full cast. Not like on Transformers, or Winnie the Pooh, or Transformers Prime, or any of the other shows for that matter. But in response to your question, I think that my original direction would be to, you put it behind you and you move on and you don't take it seriously. Because you have to remember that show business is exactly what it is, a business. And if you let your personal feelings weigh on you, you'll never survive. It's not a personal thing. And knowing that, it gives you the strength to keep on going. So you fight to internalize it and become, a diva or a spoiled brat.
But there's not, I'm sorry, Peter, there's not a lot of that amongst voice artists. They seem to be, it's a real camaraderie.
You're right.
Can you talk about that a little bit? It seems like whenever I see voice actors hang out together, it's like, seeing long lost friends.
It's hysteria. Chris knows, because Chris is a great voiceover actor. And voiceover people are actors, really. And you may not be visual, but you are creating a character. And oftentimes in the studio, you're going to be with people like-minded and as talented, and you're just mesmerized by the things that they can do, and they're mesmerized by the things that you can do. So what Chris is actually reminding me of are the wonderful, wonderful times in the studio with your fellow actors who you admire and you respect and you end up loving, as people. But it was always with that sense of feeling that you left a studio and like you were friends, and when are you going to see each other? The next time you're recording.
Great. Thank you for your question. Next question.
What's your most embarrassing experience at a convention or your career?
Aside from what just happened.
Yeah.
You do not want to know.
Thank you very much. That was awesome. Who's next?
Okay, so first of all, good afternoon, Mr. Cullen. I'm a huge fan of your work. Like everyone else in this room. Yeah.
Thank you.
Speaking to the microphone.
My first and only question is, as you were growing up, I guess, as you were getting into voice acting, what was your main inspiration? Was it someone like Mel Blanc?
Mel Blanc, for sure. Mel Blanc was probably the most gifted vocal talent in the world. Frank Welker, I put him in the same area. I worked with Mel Blanc, and I'm very grateful for that experience. It's like we sat next to each other, and I had the opportunity to express my total respect for him. It was we were doing something about dinosaurs, a caveman, Captain Caveman.
Yeah.
Captain Caveman.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still working. Wow. Anyway, I had to do a dinosaur. I had to speak as I'm gonna get you. Ooh, that's a mean one.
Thank you. Great question. Who's next?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say I'm really happy to meet you, and I have a question I want you to say. In your Optimus Prime voice, can you say, "Let he who's without sin throw the first Energon cube"?
Let he without sin throw the first energon cube.
Wow. That was awesome. Next question.
Hi. I'm sorry. I wanted to ask, I believe this is a miscellaneous funnel Transformers fans for decades, ever since G1 first came out. And it was one of the first questions that came to my mind when I first started into Transformers. In G1, when Optimus Prime transforms into Blob mode, his trailer kind of just scoots off to the side and disappears. And then when you transform back into a truck, the trailer just pops up out of nowhere and just comes back. And a lot of fans have been speculating for so long, where does the trailer go?
I've been meaning to ask myself that. Where do I go? Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to talk to them about that G1. Incredible observation. And as a matter of fact, I think you all should give her a round of applause. It's such an incredible.
I think, Peter, you probably are wondering the same thing. Now that she brought that up, I'm thinking about that. But it's a great question. I mean, it's something that's obviously not a choice that you made because you're not doing the animation, you're doing the voices. But wow, that's a really funny observation. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Great question.
Thank you very much.
Who's next?
Your favorite Transformers movie? What is your favorite Transformers movie?
Favorite Transformers movie?
Well, I guess my favorite would be the first one because it gave me the opportunity to do the second and third and fourth. I snuck out of that one, didn't I? You're a sweetheart there.
Let's hear it. What's your question?
You've been to Hanna-Barbera Studio, right? Hanna-Barbera Studio.
Hanna-Barbera Studio. What's your question about Hanna-Barbera Studio?
You did the voice of Captain Slaughter from Pound Puppies.
Oh.
Captain Slaughter from Pound. Oh, could you speak in the microphone? I want to make sure everyone hears your question.
You did the voice of Captain Slaughter from Pound Puppies.
Oh, I remember him. Yeah, he was mean.
Because he's one of Katrina Stormhard and Martinez and Catgut volunteers. So can you do get the help puppies able to last for me, please?
Oh, I don't remember the exact line, but I'll get the puppies if it's the last thing I do.
Thank you. What's your question?
I don't even remember doing that voice, to tell you the truth. I just made it up.
Speak right into the microphone. Don't be shy.
Hi, Peter Cullen. You're like my hero. I wanted to ask, what did you think of like Optimus Prime's character development throughout the entire franchise?
Well, to be very frank and honest, I don't think Optimus Prime changed from the first words out of my mouth at the audition. He stayed exactly the same from the first show to the last word I spoken. And that's because he took off in my brain through a tremendous amount of inspiration. And it was the day that I read the first copy, I knew this is so well written. And for the first time, I was reading lines that meant something and that had a resounding sense of quality and positive and virtue. And as I said, it was so well written my conception was inspired by my brother, and he was a leader. He was a captain of the Marine Corps. He fought in Vietnam. He was always my hero, and when he gave me the advice on the way to the audition that morning, he said, "Peter, where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to audition, Larry, for a truck." And he started to laugh just like we all did. And he said to the truck, I said, "Well, wait a minute, Larry. He's a hero truck." "Well, Peter, if you're going to be a hero, be a real hero. Don't be one of those Hollywood phony heroes that do all the yelling and all that crap." He said, "If you're going to do a hero, Peter, be strong enough to be gentle, be compassionate, be courageous. Don't be egotistical." And he gave me so much information. And it was the tone of his voice. You know, imagine Larry, a Marine, 6 inches taller, professional football player at one time, my hero, and he was speaking softly. And I got into the car and I drove to the audition, still not knowing what words I was going to speak. And I looked at the script, I went into the booth. I hadn't practiced or anything. I said, "My name is Optimus Prime." My brother Larry was just coming out of me. "I'm from the planet Cybertron." And I can't remember the exact words, but it developed into maybe a paragraph where I could emote the gentility, the authority, the strength, and the commander, you know. So by the end of the paragraph, I had incorporated all of those emotions because they were defined. It was so well written. And some of those lines actually ended up in the first or second show, I guess. But that was a wonderful, compelling experience. And Optimus Prime, in my mind, has never changed from that very first day. He still is composed of all those wonderful traits that were written so well. And I'm so grateful for my brother for inspiring me to get them out of me. Honesty, integrity, trustworthiness, valor, courage, dignity, compassion. They were all written within him. And at the same audition, I auditioned for Ironhide, who was the exact opposite. And so I had been, that's kind of interesting too, if you don't mind me going on like this. Anyway, the next script up was for Ironhide. And that night prior, I had watched an old Wallace Berry picture, and I don't know if you know who Wallace Berry is, but oh, he's got to talk like that, you know. And I said, oh boy, I was so panicky. I got to grasp me at straws, Chris. You know what it's like. And so I come out and it's Brian, come on, let's go and kick some butt. That's a long time ago, but those memories are kind of fresh. I'm going to thank God.
That's a great question. Thank you so much.
Thanks
I'm curious, Peter, to follow up on that question. Did your brother get to see, the work that you did in Transformers, and how did he react, knowing, kind of inspired you?
He would, Peter, cut it out. He's that kind of guy, very humble guy. I had to Marine. Peter, thanks a lot, Peter, but, don't overdo it.
It's great. Next question.
Hi, Peter.
Hi.
First of all, I actually ran all the way here from an autograph session just to see you, and I was so close to your last panel. And I want to thank you for all the years of work and all the years, basically. Being the voice of my childhood, I thank you very much for that. In fact, for being my favorites.
voice actor or voice director that you have wanted to work with that you haven't?
Well, that's a pretty loaded question. So, I'll give a loaded answer. Thank you for those kind words, by the way. I've worked with a lot of great directors, not just voiceover directors, a lot of interesting. John Frankenheimer was one. I did the voice of Toshiro Mifune, who was a great, he's the Marlon Brando of Japan. And I did, I dubbed his voice in English from Japanese. And the experience working with John Frankenheimer was an ultimate experience for me as, as an actor. So I would have to say, well, having worked with one of the top directors in the world, I don't have to wish for anything else, I was there. But I'm always grateful, to get the opportunity to work, to work with somebody that's acclaimed and really knows well. Because it makes me very nervous, it makes me afraid that I'm going to screw up. And it puts an awful lot of energy into your artistic, creative soul. So it keeps you right on your toes, wouldn't you say, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, thank you for that question. Thank you.
It was a great question. Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much for giving the autograph session earlier.
Yes, thank you.
What you did for me was really touching. I'm choking up. I'm trying not to choke out their faces and smiling so much. But my question for you is, you guys had blooper reels for the movies, but we never really saw any. What was probably the funniest moment recording in the Michael Bay series that you had as a voice actor?
Well, I always work with Michael Bay alone. That's the way it goes in the business. We were talking earlier, working in a series with all the actors on it, and you're all together. It's hysteria and it's fun and it's, back and forth, and we're always convincing and always screwing up and always making fun and laughing and getting yelled at by the directors, et cetera, et cetera. But working with Michael Bay alone is intimidating, to say the least. And I'm just working with a big screen and a microphone, and there's a movie camera, television camera, some kind of a camera that's focused on my mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And you know it's focused on your mouth because, I got a glimpse of it. And it's really difficult, so it's unlike any other recording environment. And especially when you consider there's somebody staring at my mouth while I'm talking, it really gets under you, It's like somebody coming up to you while you're talking and then they just focus right in your nose and just stare at you, staring at your lips. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, in a way you did, yeah.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Great question.
Yeah.
Marcus?
Hello, Chris. Mr. Cullen, obviously as a seasoned voice actor, you've done numerous roles, and some of them have gone on to be acclaimed, like Optimus and SacAnime, others sadly have, eventually gone to the wayside. Is there any particular character that you portrayed that you wish maybe had gotten more recognition?
A lot of them, I guess. Not one of which comes to mind right now. I can't think of one that would be meritorious enough to.
Simply, not so much, just in terms of one that was, although it didn't last too long, it was really vicious.
Gee, I'm having a brain dead here.
There's so many. There's got to be hundreds, right?
Yeah,
so
there
many.
is.
And I feel like every time we do this, I discover more new ones. I was unaware of Captain Caveman.
Yeah.
My child loved Captain Caveman.
When you're a voiceover actor gets paid to do 4 voices, he gets paid for 1, but he has to do 3 more. Once you hit the 4th voice, you get an extra solid pay. So in a show, you might be doing, 6 characters. Frank Welker would do, in some shows, he would do 7, 8. And it's a silly contract negotiation deal with the union and stuff like that. But the studios love it because they only have to hire, 4 actors to do 12 voices. So, but a lot of the times you're doing a character outside of the predominant one you're doing, and you wish that character would come back. It was such a great character. It was so much fun to do, and you'll never do him again. He's gone. You create a character by the artist's conception and how what the author has given its personality. So you have the artistic sketch, and you have the words and the sounds or whatever, and you have to come up with the voice to marry those two. And oftentimes, you'll be doing a character, and you come up with the perfect voice based on, every actor is different, but for me, I try to create a sound that would best suit his physical characteristics, whether it be a narrow throat, that would mean more trumpety, a larger body, more tuba, et cetera, frowns, and angry, blah, blah, blah. So, to connect with a voice really that you like to do and you never see it again, and you perhaps may never get an opportunity to do that voice again, based on the artist and the words. So it's hit and miss. I just confused myself too. So you don't have to look so confused. We're all confused.
Thanks for your question. Okay, we've got time for a few more questions. Oh, could you speak into the microphone? We all want to hear your question.
Okay, so I was wondering, working with Mel Blanc and Jim Cummings and other voiceover actors, are there any lessons in general that they taught you that you follow to this day?
That's a good question, and I think if you cannot take away from a working situation where you were in the presence of great talent among the people you just mentioned, if you can't find something to take away from that, you've lost it. It's lost. Anytime, and I don't think anybody can walk away from an experience working with other talented people and not coming away with something. So, it's like hanging around with a guy that can throw a pass in football, and you're standing right next to him, and you're on the field with him, and you're there for like 2.5 hours. You're going to be a better passer at the end of 2.5 hours because that visual association and his movements, some of it's going to go towards you. It's the same with anybody. You become closer to the people you work with, and you've got to come away with a little part of them all the time, and that's magical. It's a wonderful thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, great question.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Mr. Cullen, I have a favor to ask you. It's, I turned 18 in a couple of weeks. I think it's like the first week of September.
You don't know when your birthday is.
It's on like the 18th, and I turned 18, ironically. So, I have a simple favor. You do the one phrase you did when you fought Megatron on the original Transformers movie? That's all. Like, you have to place like, one shall stand, one shall fall. And, Chris,
for long to be acting? Can you just act as a character?
No, I can't.
Just do a simple, just trying to do an impression.
I'm going to leave it to Peter. This is all about him. So if you'd like to give, I swear every time I hear you doing Optimus's voice, I kind of freak out. I don't know about you guys, but every time you have done the voice on stage here today, I am freaking out in my pants.
Well said. One shall stand, one shall fall.
Why? That's a great question.
Why do you waste your lives on such foolish actions?
You gotta speak into that mic.
No, it's after this part, you can say that.
Why do you waste your life on such foolish actions?
That's what you say. That's what you should ask yourself.
It's a great question. That's great. Let's move on. We've only got a few more minutes left, so we've got to...
That's what you should ask yourself, Megatron.
Thank you.
Megatron must be stopped at all costs.
Nice.
Cost.
Hey, Peter. So, okay, I guess my voice sounds kind of funny. So first off, I wanted to thank my friend for letting me be here because it's my birthday. He bought my pass, so I'm very thankful. He's sitting right over here, and a friend of mine couldn't be here, and his name is John. And I was wondering if you could tell him, hey, in your Megatron voice, or sorry, that guy got me confused.
Help.
Optimus Prime. Sorry.
Help me. I don't know what is the line?
Anything. Just say, hey, John, or anything you would like to say to me for not being here. I apologize. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Okay. I really like this mic. This is awesome.
We have conferred. We do not understand what you're saying.
So you want a video for your friend John?
Oh, okay.
We're trying. Yeah. So.
Oh.
Yeah, we're not.
Oh. Okie dokie.
Yeah,
This is really
I'm sorry.
fun.
We can't really do requests like that. I apologize because everyone would want to hear their voice, having Optimus Prime say their voice, and we would not get through everyone here. So I apologize.
Thank you for being here, and I think it's awesome that you were My Little Pony too. And the voice of Eeyore.
Thank you.
You were wonderful. And I'm sorry I couldn't comply your wish, but for some reason or another, we were having a little difficulty communicating back and forth. But you mentioned something about a dear friend, John. And there was a line that you wanted me to say, but I couldn't decipher what line it was, whether it was from Optimus Prime or whatever. Okay, now I can hear you. You're sweet. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. What's your next question?
Hi, Peter. I just wanted to say that Optimus Prime has probably been my main hero since I was a kid. I've watched every series of Transformers, and my question is in Transformers 4, Age of Extinction, was it hard to maintain the sense of calm despite the fact that throughout most of the movie he's very angry and very scared but trying to maintain control, on top of the fact that Galvatron's back and everything's crumbling?
Excellent. A lot of people have observed that same thing, and there was a sense that maybe Transformers was going into a darker area, and I think that brought a lot of concern to the major studio, and certainly to the writers who feel that perhaps 5 and 6 movies will go back more to its roots. And you're right. There was an occasion in one. There was one line that Optimus Prime had that said, "I did not want to say. I was forced to say, but it was my gut instinct and certainly my commitment to character not to say the line, but I was told to say it. You can't fight the big boys." And I think you all know what that line was. You know, it was vengeance, total vengeance. It was retributive justice, but it was retribution with anger and you know, it was almost a bad human.
It was very out of character.
Very out of character. You know the line. I don't even like saying it. It's not even Prime. Thanks.
We've got time, I think, for a couple more questions. Hopefully we'll get to everybody. Here we go.
I think I would if they asked me. Eeyore touched a lot of hearts, and I love doing them because he doesn't have to take punches, give punches, fall down, get whacked, yell, scream, or anything. He says, "Oh, thanks for noticing."
Thank you. That was a great question.
I had a great opportunity to make Eeyore really funny. In the last movie that we did, and I don't know, Piglet's a great movie, maybe, anyway, he had to carry a large piece of furniture across the street. Of course, you know, he goes underwater, and he's singing his song. And I don't know what the song was either, but I'll make up the words. But he's carrying this heavy furniture out. It's a piano, I can't remember. And he's wondering, oh, I'm singing my song, singing. And he gets to the water, and he's at the piano. And I'm back on the other shore. Out of the movie. But I did it for you guys, and I knew it was going to be funny. Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, time for one more question. We have to wrap it up. I'm sorry. Let's hear your question, sir.
Peter, it's actually just awe-inspiring to be sitting in front of you. Thank you so much. While I was sitting there, I was thinking about how many people you've actually touched, the lives of the people you've touched. Every single one of my kids, they all heard your voice. I heard your voice growing up. There isn't a person in this room that hasn't heard your voice. There's probably a person that's ever sat in front of a television or a theater screen that hasn't heard your voice. And I'm wondering, out of all of that, what's your absolute favorite time ever?
Favorite time?
Yes, favorite event of any time.
I don't know. It's hard. I think I can define that by narrowing it down a little bit. I think it's always a time when you're surrounded with people that you care about and that care about you. Family, like a Thanksgiving dinner, or sharing a moment with your best friend. And I'm going to sound like a glob, but it's moments like these. And without sounding like a fool, this is one of those moments. This is an opportunity to say thank you. And I don't get that opportunity very often. The fact that it's a great responsibility to discover that you've affected a lot of people's lives in a very positive and good way. And that is an honor. And It's something that I can have for the rest of my life, knowing that I did something that made a difference. And I take that as being perhaps my greatest accomplishment. And I'm one of the luckiest people in the world to have had that opportunity. And I didn't do it by myself. It took a lot of people to create Optimus Prime. It took a great amount of inspiration for me to be open enough to take that inspiration from my brother, for example, and to fulfill it, to come to this. I take away that feeling as being the greatest feeling. And I guess I can finish by saying how much I really appreciate all of you. And my heart and my love goes out to you. If it weren't for the bond that we created, that bond, it all was established in your understanding and my understanding of a character. We were both brought together by this character. And to some people, they won't get it, but we do get it. And that constitutes the bond. And it's something that we can both share together. And that's why I can say, I love you. And I'm grateful.
Peter, I think I speak for everyone here. We love you so much. Everyone, Peter Cullen! Peter Cullen! Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. SacAnime.
What up, big kids? I am here with the legendary, the one and only Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen. How are you doing today, Peter?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for having me.
Real quick, have you ever been to Sacramento at SacAnime? Well, this is your first SacAnime, but have you ever been to Sacramento before?
Yes, I have. As a matter of fact,